the ocean was a really safe place for me, even though it can be deathly and scary. But that's the place where I go to. I call it just washing off the day. Yeah, the ocean's that place for me to just wholeheartedly concentrate on you.
Yeah.
Everything. There were times where it was real tough. Mum always said that we've got to have a house near the beach, because if the boys are in the ocean, they're out of trouble. Her just making those decisions changed our world.
I met a gypsy.
I think the hardest thing for athletes when they do retire is some of them, that's their identity.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, that's where, all right, I'm a pro surfer, pro footy player, and they just don't have anything else after that.
Yeah.
And you do find it hard when you're staying home a lot, or, you're not getting on a plane every other day, or, for footy players not going into the sheds and hanging out with
being
their
around
mates.
the boys.
Yeah. So there is a bit of a shift, and it takes it takes a bit of work to looking in the mirror and say, are you okay with this, and that sort of thing. But I learned that in 2016, where I had the half a year off.
Yeah.
I was okay with sitting on the couch all day.
Yeah.
Turning into a fat mess. It was, I sort of did a bit of a different transition to what most people do, because I did get to go back and experience it, and then had that decision of like, do I want to stay here or do I not? Yeah. And even since then, like going and doing wild cards and stuff like that.
Just a completely different vibe.
Yeah, I paddle out and I'm like, what am I doing here?
Yeah.
Like, I'm good. I'm good not to be that person.
Yeah. It's funny, you said before that the anxiety you'd feel around the heat. I don't know why I've been thinking about it, but even so, like this podcast, for example, it's like, all right, I come into work and there's a level of anxiety that you've got around just making sure, all right, is everything sweet? And I would imagine that that's the same, or like there's a required level of anxiety that you need to feel to perform in anything. And if you don't have that anxiety around performing, then like you're probably not going to prepare. You're probably not going to. It's funny that probably the greater the anxiety you feel about something, the more performance that you could actually extract out of yourself, because it's like that anxiety is what's driving you to do well, if that makes sense.
Yeah, exactly. I think what it is if you don't have that anxiety, or you don't have those nerves, do you really care?
Yeah.
And so like I always prided myself on being prepared, being ready for any situation. Even if I wasn't the favourite or anything, I was like, I'm going to give it my all. And I needed that.
Yeah.
That kept me, like, there were some times I was like, please just let me sleep for a bit. But, but I needed that because I didn't want to have that, that what if moment.
Yeah.
Oh, I should have done that better. I should have, approached it a bit different and stuff like that. And they're the ones, I think those what ifs or shoulda, coulda, woulda moments, they're the ones that keep you up at night. So that anxiety kept me sharp, and kept me, on point to keep moving forward. And it's weird, like even just going back and doing a wild card and having the anxiety for the call, if I was surfing or not that day.
Yeah.
I was like, do I even like this?
Yeah.
But that's all I knew at the time. So it was real, but as you say, it just kept me on point.
Yeah. And if that goes away, that feeling, like, it's very, very hard. Or I wonder if there are people out there that can perform at 100% just because they want to perform at 100%. Like they're not feeling any of the, whether they, frame it as anxiety or frame it as excitement or not, or however the framing is. It's like, I wonder if there's even anyone out there that can perform at 100% that doesn't get that.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I look at, my peers, like I look at Paco. And he's a Jedi, man. He's just, nothing seems to worry that guy.
Yeah, right.
Never had to sit down and talk him through bad situations or whatever. He always seems like he's just cruising through life. And even when we're competing, he would have so much fun, and then he would just like switch on. And I'm like, how do you do that? I can't do that.
Yeah.
And we're just so opposite. Like even like 20 minutes before he paddles out, he's talking to everyone. He's playing games and just, going fishing and shit. And
so
like,
maybe some dudes can just turn it on like that.
Yeah, I don't know. He's just so relaxed. But, he was a young dad too. So maybe that switched it off. He's like, I don't need to prepare. I've got kids.
Yeah. But you mentioned before a sports psych. How early did you start working with a sports psych, and then how important was that to go through your career? And did you frame it as anxiety, or did you call it another word for that feeling that you had, or?
So I sort of dealt with different sports psychs and that throughout my years. And then it wasn't until 2009 I met Dr. Michael Gervais.
Okay.
And we, like, from the first moment I met him, I was like, this guy's the man. Like,
really?
Within half an hour, I'm in his office just bawling my eyes out, just letting it all go. And from that situation, like, he just gave me a couple of tools, and I felt like I was performing really well, but I was making really bad decisions, like in heats and stuff. And he gave me a couple of tools. And for the back half of the year, I ended up winning 3 out of the last 5 events. And so I was like, oh, it works. And we became good friends since then. But we never really talked about like anxiety or stuff like that. It was just, for us, it was more preparation.
Yeah.
But also too, I guess, or maybe there was parts of it that he could see, because he would always give me tools to go, okay, well, if you're feeling like you need to do more work, maybe you just need to just do specific work for like half an hour a day, even if you can't surf, or even if you can't get in the water, or you're flying or something. And that's where meditation and visualization came in for me. Yeah. And that really took a lot of the anxiety out of like my mates now laugh at me because I play golf now. Yeah. Where I couldn't play golf when I was on tour.
Really?
Like, I was like, if I was on the course for 5 hours.
So you just chalk that up to lost time, that someone else was doing more than you?
No, it's more just I was always wondering what the waves are doing. Or I was wondering what, I could be doing something to better myself or whatever. And most of the time I was just sitting on my ass at home. But and so he sort of doing the visualization and the meditation. I'd do it every night before I went to bed. And I knew at the end of every single day, I'd do my work. Yeah. So I could go and enjoy the day and do those things. Still didn't play golf, but I could just go and enjoy it and just know that in the back of my mind, I'm going to go do the work. Yeah. That was a really good tool for me, and that really helped me keep that anxiety pretty low. Yeah. It was still there, but just kept it pretty low.
What did meditation look like for you?
Meditation was, I'd start off just by stretching and breathing. Yeah. And, people think if you're going to meditate, you just have to be, cross-legged. Yeah. Fingers up and singing on. But for me, it was more breathing and just feeling the body in movement and stretching, and then and then I'd go through the body from the brain,
like a body scan.
Full body scan.
Yeah.
Some days I'll just sit there and just watch my thoughts, and just be like, what's going on? See, we used to call them trains, and you just watch where the train went to, and if it stopped at a station and you didn't want to go any further, you just get off. And so that was cool, just watching thoughts and just like a weird old brain, I tell you. And then finally I would just visualize whatever event was coming up next, or what event I was in, and just visualize just going and surfing a heat. And that could take half an hour, could take an hour, could take 5 minutes. It all just depend on what I was feeling on the day. I never put pressure on a time limit. That was a big thing for me. Like, I didn't set an alarm. You got to meditate for this long or that. It was just whatever I felt like in the time, which was nice.
We're excited to announce the launch of our new membership site, Gypsytailscom, packed with exclusive content and perks that you won't find anywhere else. This is your chance to become a part of the Gypsy Gang. And as a special bonus, if you sign up to an annual membership, you'll be entered into the draw to win our custom-built TC125. Gypsy Gang.